You're not going to want to miss this episode of the AI Show where Ashley talks about what's new in text analytics for health. Make sure you tune in. Hello and welcome to this episode of the AI Show where Ashley's going to talk about what's new for text analytics for health. Ashley, how you doing, my friend? It's been a little bit.
I'm well. How about you?
Great. So for people that don't know, tell us who you are and what you do.
Sure. My name is Ashley Yo. I am a program manager in the text analytics side of cognitive services. Text analytics is a service where we use natural language processing techniques to process unstructured text for several different features such as sentiment analysis, name entity recognition, language detection, and of course, key phrase extraction.
Awesome. So last time we chatted a little bit about text analytics for health. Can you give people a little bit of a recap about what it is, a reminder of the service, and maybe a recap of what's new since build?
Sure. Text analytics for health is one of the new features that we will be GAing in June, about a month from now. It is one of the features that will use 4 different natural language processing techniques to process or extract insights from unstructured text, such as the doctor's notes, discharge summaries, lab reports, clinical documents, as well as electronic health records. The 4 techniques that is available in the text analytics for health is name entity recognition, entity linking. We have relation extraction as well as assertion detection. What's new has been is that we have almost doubled the number of entities that we recognize as well as the relation that we extract.
I mean, this is amazing because like it feels like we're aggregating a bunch of things now to solve a very important problem.
It sure is. Every year, the medical segment generates over 4 trillion bytes of document data that we need to process. And as you've seen from the last year during the pandemic, we realized that there was a lot of stress and undue load on our healthcare providers. So through having to document every single encounter. So using these NLP techniques, we are hoping that we can reduce, and we have seen some reduction in the necessary workload of our healthcare providers, thereby increasing the quality of care to those who really need the care.
I mean, this is cool. Can you visualize a little bit, help us understand what it's actually doing?
Sure. Let me just go through what the service is available, and then I can
Let's do it.
Talk a little bit. Yeah. So Text Analytics for Health is a single API call that will return 4 different results that we just listed on the screen here. And today is available as a downloadable container that you can download and run in your own in your own environment. Then it is a synchronous operation. But also today we make it available through a web app API. It's available in all regions today and has all the goodness of Azure with all the compliance and security and privacy, the privacy policies that are available for our web services. Again, this is currently only available for English text, but we have with customers who have been using Translator to help to have a stopgap for the text that we don't support today, and they've seen very satisfactory results. So today, let me just show you in the container. We have we've added an application to help visualize the output.
That's cool. And what's cool is as you're bringing this up, I love the idea of there being a container, because sometimes a container that's run on premises, because sometimes there's sensitive data on there and there's regulations that people need to look out for. Is that what everyone was thinking about when they made this?
Yes. In fact, container was the first version of Text Analytics for Health that we released over almost a year ago, and it's been a great hit with the customers. And then they asked us to put on this demo UI to help them do very quick evaluation of the data they have, being able to see kind of results we get. So you can see on the screen here, it visualizes the entities that we detect and assign them to the different categories. For instance, like you see some of the age in there, you have someone with a diagnosis, and also link them to very important concepts or ontologies. And that those are linking and identifying those codes is really very critical to ensuring accuracy in billing, as well as being able to do the definition that's shared between different healthcare professional, such as when you are being referred to another specialist, they need to know what's in the notes, and they're all talking about the same thing. So linking is really key in making sure that everybody speaks the same language. Again, we also have assertion. Assertion is also something that we need to make sure that the entities we detected are they hypothetical or are they negated, so that you don't assign the wrong kind of categories for the symptom to the patient. So what you see here is a visualization. I can actually do a demo if you like.
Yeah, I'd love to see, like, I love the visualization, but there's probably programmers here watching. I want to make sure that they can see what is it that you're sending and what is it that you're getting back. Do you have time to show us that?
Yes, absolutely. Let me find my screen here. What you see here is of a Visual Studio Code representation of something I put together through a Python code. It is a simple Python using Python code to invoke the request library that will allow us to make a simple REST API call to a local endpoint that I've deployed on Azure web apps, web for containers.
That's cool.
So you can see that using this API, using this request library, I'm able to define the endpoint and then provide it with a sample text here that we can then just simply construct the call request to the endpoint. And I'll let me see if I can show it run. Hopefully it will run.
Here it goes. Wow.
So as you can see, it returns a JSON object. You can have the output is vast because there's a lot of information behind it. And remember, one entity that you get for each entity that it detects that has a related ontology link to it, you will assign all the ontologies for that.
That's cool. That's cool. So that's a cool REST example. Do you have any other examples?
Sure. We also have, thanks to our Visual Studio Code extension for Jupyter notebooks, we also have ability to do a notebook run here. So I have a set of simple notebook that will use pandas for data for visualizing the data, the output that comes back from the endpoint. Here is again, this call is to a local container instance that I have on my workstation in the office. I will run this. And you can see the similar kind of output that comes back to a JSON output. And here, using the data, using the pandas library, we can actually visualize this output. And here, I want to look at all the entities that are being extracted. You can see the nice data in the table form of all the different entities and the category associated with them, as well as the links, as opposed to being a blob of JSON text. And if I want to continue to look into a particular category, let me go here. For instance, I want to just only look at those with diagnosis. I will find only those that have diagnosis in here. So this is the beauty of Jupyter Notebooks as well. So you don't have to recreate the whole visualization of the data, but you have this data frame they can then use, and you overlay it with a UI. You can only extract the certain areas, certain categories that will be important from the notes for a specialist or any person who's providing care to then look in this. For instance, like here, we can look at the relationships as well, and relationships are key to looking at the time of medication, the dosage of medication. So those things are already inside the JSON object, but through this data frame, you can actually slice and dice a little bit more.
That's super cool. So you showed us a REST call, which feels like you're just going like the bare metal to the. You showed us using a notebook with Pandas data frame, which is nice. Do people have the option of just doing like a coded type of thing as well?
Absolutely, we do have an SDK that we provide, and again, I'm using a Python SDK. The latest version is 5.1.0 B7. This is the one that will support what we have in the latest review version. And then wait for the GA in a month. We'll have a GA version of the SDK. In here, we have all the different methods and libraries that we incur that we can call. So using this SDK, we can provide a client to authenticate your credentials. Again, you do need a text analytic resource that you can get, we create through your portal. Make sure you get the key and make sure you get the endpoint. Once you have that, you can then construct using this SDK. Provide it with your text that you want to process, and then make the call. Again, please note that through the hosted web API, it is an asynchronous call. Maybe I didn't mention it early on. It's asynchronous in the sense you can send a lot of data to it, a lot more than you can process through the container. And then that way, because you send to it, it's asynchronous, you can come back and get the results later on. So this is what this SDK provides. And I can run this again. We will show that the two calls, the post and the get, through a single method here to begin analyze healthcare entities.
Let's do it. There it goes.
It's asynchronous, you post, and it waits for the results to get done, and then do a get, and check the status for succeed. It succeeded, it will then print, and it will see these results, and it will come back. I hope he doesn't not too busy today, but there we go.
There it is. That's cool.
And this is how we can programmatically handle the call as well as the response, and then you can then structure the response any way you want through this SDK.
I mean, this is all really cool stuff. Where can people go to find out more about this? Because this is really cool.
You can have the link that you show up right now, which I can't really see.
There you go. Text Analytics for Health how-to. Wonderful.
Yep.
And then we have another link in here, Text Analytics, a sample as well. Tell us about the sample. Is that the one you're just showing us?
Yes, it is. This is a sample I just showed you through the SDK. And those are all been certified to run.
Fantastic. And looks like there's a tech community blog post as well that you can take a look at. Well, Ashley, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for showing us a little bit about what's new with Text Analytics for Health. Thank you so much for watching, my friends. This has been another episode of the AI Show. We're learning about, again, what's new in Text Analytics for Health. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully, we'll see you next time. Take care, my friends.